Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Marketing Without Social. I have the opportunity to bring you a very interesting conversation today. I met someone through one of my collaborations, which, is my very favorite thing to do these days is collaborations. And she reached out and said, hey, I think that we align. And if you would like me to come and talk about niching on your podcast, I would be willing to do that. And I said, yes, please. So today, my guest is Mallika Malhotra, and she is known as the brand CEO. She is a brand strategist. She speaks, she's a mentor, and she primarily helps women entrepreneurs stop blending in and start standing out. You gotta love that, right? She's gonna create bold, unforgettable brands that amplify your skills and power and position you as the only choice in your market. I don't know about you, but that is something that I need in my life and I can get behind. Using her Bullseye branding formula and the Brand Force, her AI brand strategy system, Malika helps you claim authority, attract opportunity, and lead with confidence. And when she's not building brands, you're going to find her sipping black coffee, walking her Bernie Doodle Jacks, which may or may not have had a little cameo in the podcast. And she listens to 90s hip hop with her husband and her 3 sons. So I think you're really going to get a lot out of this conversation with Malika. So let's get to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I am excited for this conversation. I feel like I always say I'm excited for the conversation, but this week, it's very applicable to me, myself, and you get to listen in. I mean, that's really what's going to happen. Because I have a guest that we met through a collaboration that we did. And Malika is going to bring the heat talking about niching your brand. So, Malika, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us about you.
Yes, thank you for having me. So, hi, my name is Mallika Malhotra. I'm the brand CEO and I'm a brand strategist. And what I do is I help women who feel like the invisible expert. They're really good at what they do, but they're overwhelmed, they're overlooked, and often underpaid. I help them figure out their positioning, their niche, their message so that they can become the only and obvious choice. And it ends up that they get hired, they get booked, they get invited for bigger and better opportunities. And a lot of that is because we work on the clarity of their message and the definition of their niche.
Hallelujah. Preach, girl. So tell me how you fell into that specific, I mean, it's a niche of your own, right? That's
I know, right?
really,
Isn't it? Yeah. So I have a background in corporate advertising like 100 years ago, right? I worked on big brands like L'Oreal and Oil of Olay. But I do think it's important, like with that corporate advertising, we had campaigns where we were selling products. And some of that applies to us as entrepreneurs, right? We are selling ourselves, we're selling our offers. And so a lot of that training I had, I do apply to my clients who are smaller scale, mostly solopreneurs. And so I learned a lot from them. And I learned as an entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience through my own personal journey of being a broad photographer at the time, doing all of the things. I called it my junk drawer season of my business.
I love that.
I would be family, children, seniors, headshots, brand photos. Why not do an Instagram workshop? Why not talk about brand strategy? Why not?
Yeah.
Because, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I want to help the whole world, right?
Yep.
But I learned very quickly that even though we have the skills, even though we have the passion to help all, it's not always the best move for our business to let it grow faster.
Yeah.
I learned that I actually had to curate, subtract, and cut things out, like the photography, and go all in on the strategy in order for my brand to grow faster, in order for me to be known for something. So I chose the path of brand strategy. And then I realized even in that path, like you said, I niched my own brand to be a niche strategist. So, a lot of that stuff came with time and experience and experimenting. But we have to follow the breadcrumbs. We have to look at the data. We have to take the breaks to really look at the intel that tells us if we should be going smaller in order to go bigger.
Yeah. And it's so counterintuitive, right? I mean, I hear it all the time in my business that I don't want to niche down too far because I'm not going to make as much money or I'm going to leave some people out. And it's
I mean,
It's a fear.
yeah, it's a scary proposition. What I'm going through right now is, so I also work with brands and I'm a website developer. And so I am finding that ancillary to that, I manage podcasts and I teach visibility and I teach how to set your business systems up and all. But what really struck me just, I think, in between the eyes just recently is I don't really even like that stuff. I just really love the brand and website part. And so why am I doing all this other stuff? Why am I doing
Exactly.
why?
Because you're
And
spending time on things that allow you not to grow in the area where the money
yes,
is, where the passion is, and maybe where the gap is, right?
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So how how does one know where you should niche and how far to niche? Because I think
Yeah.
that's the question that people ask so much.
Right. And those are good questions. And there's not a finite answer, right? It is all an experiment. So I think if you're new to business, you're probably going to do all the things for a little
Right.
bit, right?
Yeah.
You're going to work with different target audiences. You're going to say you're an expert in maybe two or three, sometimes four, five, six things, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have different offers, but you're going to hit a wall. You're
Hmm.
going to be exhausted. You are
Hmm.
going to feel the stress of talking to different audiences, different messages, a different offer, and the confusion that might get to it. And then the frustration might be there where why is someone hiring someone else over me when my price might be better? I have more expertise. And they actually asked me if I did this. And it's probably because
Right.
you are a Jane of all trades and you're all over the place. And so we all go through this stage. But when you're getting that frustration, when you are hitting the wall, it's the time for you to sort of audit your brand. And
Mm,
you have to ask yourself, where's the money coming from? Where am I having the biggest revenue?
yeah.
And people often don't ask themselves this question. They're not looking at the numbers to see 80% of my revenue come from this one service.
Yep.
Then why are we doing the podcasting? Why are we doing the visibility and the social media and all those other
Hmm.
things? And yes, maybe you still can do that, but don't lead with that.
Right.
Lead with the moneymaker. Lead with what makes you feel inspired and energized.
Mhm.
It's maximizing your skill set. Lead with what the competitors might not be doing.
Yeah.
And then once they're through the door, once the messaging is singular and focused and powerful for that, you can still do the other things. Because so many people are like, you're going to put me in a box. I am not putting you in a box. I'm just putting a spotlight on what you are meant to be doing and
Mm,
selling. And then you can have this toolkit if you choose to do the other things, right? And so
yeah.
I think in the beginning, you have to experiment, but you also have to be smart to look at the data, the hard numbers, ask the questions, ask your audience. What do you see me as an expert for? Where are the referrals coming from?
Yeah.
If people are referring you for website design and you haven't had a referral for podcast production in 3 months, you shouldn't be, in my opinion,
Right. Yeah.
you might want to let that go, right?
You might want to let that go. Yeah. I think also if you're having, I know this is in my case, so you can, refute if you disagree, but I feel like when you're having a hard time making an offer go,
Mhm.
sometimes, not always, but sometimes it can indicate that it's not the right offer for the audience that you're trying to reach.
Right. Or you're not articulating the value in a
Mm,
way that it is compelling. And
yeah.
so, or they are not trusting you as the expert for that offer,
Yeah.
right? So there
Okay.
could be a multiple of reasons why that sales call isn't going the way it should. And I do find that when people want to do all the things, want to be that Jane of all trades,
Hmm.
are failing to be specific in the message. I'm a life coach that help women over 40. What does that even mean?
Right.
What do you help them with? Who
Yeah.
are these women? Versus I'm a life coach that specializes in relationship building for women who just went through divorce that are over 40. Totally different. Now in my mind, it's crystallized.
Yeah. And
Who is that
super
person?
specific.
And super specific.
Yeah.
Specificity and clarity grow your business.
Yeah. So I've done masterminds and courses and all the things about your ideal client avatar. How does how do you approach ideal client avatars in your niche of niching?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just fun
so
to say.
ideal client is one part of my formula for
Yeah.
niching. So
Mhm.
there's four parts. And so we can start with ideal client. And for me, that's like, it's called specify,
Okay.
specifying who you serve best.
Uh-huh.
And so, yes, we want to do the demographics, the psychographics, all the things that we know to do. But again, I'm going to go back to hard data. Look at your client roster, the last 10 to 20 clients that you've already served. Where's the money coming from? Who are the good clients that you had the best results with, that you love to work with? What's
Mm,
the profile of them so that we clone them instead of this hypothetical that we're making up based on what we all do, demographics, psychographics,
mhm.
season of life, right? And then really trying to figure out who that person is because you already know them and like
Right.
having real data, real description of who they are. Are they in a certain industry? Are they a certain season of their business? Do they all have the same problem that you're solving? Right.
Mm,
So that's one part of the niche. The second part is specialize.
mhm.
What is your area of expertise? Right? Again, you can ask your audience, your community, what would you refer me to people with specifically?
Mhm.
You could look at all the jobs that you've gotten in. If they're in a certain area, those are breadcrumbs and what your specialty is. You could look at your resume, your degrees, your experience. Are they all pointing to a certain place, right? It's like putting the pieces of this puzzle together. The next part of niching in my framework, which is called the Bullseye Branding Framework, is standout. So again, your specialty, your specific audience, but then how do you stand out? Is there something that makes your approach different? Do you have like this polarizing point of view, maybe? Do you
Mm,
have a certain technology that you work with? Like as a web designer, maybe you're like, I stand out because I only do Squarespace.
yeah.
I stand out because I do website in a week. I stand out because I actually worked in corporate advertising doing websites for 25 years before this person who just learned in a day and is coming to you with an offer.
Mm.
Like,
Ah, that's
so
good.
like thinking about how you really stand out. And then the last part is solution, solve. So do you have a branded methodology? Do you have a certain way that you solve the problem? I always think that when you have a branded framework, like I just said, I have the Bullseye Branding Framework, all of a sudden your brand is elevated, right? All of a
Okay.
sudden, with that framework and that solution, you're kind of niching yourself in a little
Right.
bit, right? So this integration of all of those four, and maybe you have two of the four, there's one that's really strong, but three that need some work. But the idea is to really think about it in those layers.
That's really good. So, how does somebody know when they need to niche further or change their niche based on your framework?
Yeah. I think you know when you're getting the wrong clients through the door.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's really good.
Wrong opportunities.
Mhm.
You're getting discount seekers, right?
Mm,
They're not valuing your expertise, right? You know when there is confusion in people's eyes when you're saying your elevator pitch, right? All
right.
these little things. You know when you've pitched to go on a panel or on a podcast and it's too generic. Like, why
Yeah.
would I, you know, we talked because I said niching and immediately it struck a chord because I didn't just say, we can talk about branding.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about in branding? There's like so many avenues under
Right.
branding,
Right.
right? So, you know, when the bookings start increasing, the people who are paying your price start asking for negotiation, when referral pipeline is healthy and working, when you're in the room at networking and people are leaning in and they're nodding and they're asking for
Mm.
your number afterwards. That's when you know that your niche, you've landed on a niche that's actually working for your brand.
Oh, that's so good. I think that especially as multi-passionate entrepreneurs as we tend to be, because we can do so many things, we talk about our businesses like we do so many things, and then nothing's clear. And it allows us to be good at a lot of things, but great at nothing.
Right.
And I think that is, I, I feel like it's just rampant in the entrepreneurial space right now, is that we've got the breadth, but not the depth of what we're doing. And so there's just so many people. I feel like there's a coach, like everybody's a coach.
Yeah.
Everybody's a
And
coach.
so, what I'll tell you and your audience is in 2026, in the era of AI, it is very dangerous to be a generalist.
Yeah.
You cannot just be a coach. You cannot just be a fitness trainer. You cannot just be a brand strategist. We have to bring more to the table because AI is doing a lot of our job. Let's be frank. It's the
Yeah.
truth,
Yeah.
right? It's hurting all of our businesses. But
Yeah.
if we can position ourselves as a trusted expert who has frameworks, intellectual property, methodologies that get people from problem to solution, we will not be able to be replaced.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's such a mic drop moment right there. How do you I know that you use AI in your business. Let's just
I
go there
do.
for a minute. So, talk to me about how you utilize AI in your business without it becoming something that tends to take over because I think I said before, I'm like halfway through your SNAP Brand Audit right now,
Yeah.
which we're going to link in the show notes. Everybody needs to do it. It's been incredible so far. I can't wait to get my report. But I feel like just the way that it's spitting things out to me already, I can see, okay, this is not just AI. This is an intelligent human being who really knows who she is, what she stands for, and she knows her stuff that is behind this system and the
Correct.
process that I'm going through. And what it's giving me is that, not just general AI, word salad.
Correct. So I think AI is here to stay.
Yeah.
And so we need to accept that, right?
Yeah.
And as someone who's in the brand strategy space and who is using AI to do better work for my clients and to create products that make it accessible, more accessible for people to use them,
Right.
there's a responsibility there. So I take
Mhm.
very seriously that I am using AI responsibly. I am actually using AI is just a tool that is allowing you the speed and customization, but it's relying on my frameworks that I have years of experience in building.
So
So
good.
that AI bot that you're using has been trained on my tools that I use with my one-on-one clients in person live. Like it
Yeah.
is taking that methodology that I use, but in the back end through speed and customization, giving you a quick output that might feel like, wow, this does sound like me. Wow, this isn't generic. It's specific and it's strategic and it's intentional and it's smart,
Yeah.
right? And so for buyers out there buying these bots, be very careful in who you buy from.
Yeah.
Read the descriptions. Make sure it's based on some kind of intellectual property or framework or methodology instead of just 10 prompts that you can use for social media. Those don't
Mhm.
work anymore because there's no guidelines
Right.
that AI tool is following. The instructions that I have created for Snap and some of my other tools have very specific guidelines. You cannot go out to the World Wide Web for information. You can only live in the world that I'm creating, and I'm
Mhm.
feeding the knowledge documents of workbooks I've created, frameworks I've created, my standard operating procedures of how I go from start to finish. And so all of that is baked in intentionally. And so hopefully that will give you a very strong output and that you can use and implement.
Yeah.
And the goal of the AI is to create these products for people who might not have the $5,000 budget to work in person over a 3-month container because not everybody can do that. But
Mhm.
now you have a tool that gets you something that opens your eyes and gives you that like aha light bulb moment of, wow, this is everything in my head that now I can articulate. That was
Right.
always my goal within the framework that I have created.
Right. That's so good. So, so good. So, I want to jump up a level from niching and talk about brand strategy because I
Mhm.
know that that's part of like the
Sure.
snap that I'm going through right now. How do you work with when you work with your clients and you're trying to help them uncover a brand strategy that is unique to them, like you're
Mhm.
saying this formula or something that they can put their stamp on that's not like everybody else. What is kind of the way that you lead them to come up with something like that?
Yeah, I think I just got off a prospect call right now. And I think a big part of what I do that AI cannot do, I just had this my own realization is asking the hard questions,
Yeah.
right? One of the questions that I had to ask this prospect was, why do people even care?
Mm,
Have you asked yourself, why do people even care about your service? We, as creators and owners, are kind of self oriented in a way that we just think we have a product, we're going to deliver it, and it's different. But really, we have to ask, what is the problem that you're solving?
right.
Why do people even care? And then it's like, oh God, have I thought about that? Right. So part of this process of creating your specific brand strategy is asking you really hard questions
Mm,
that can pull out what your big why is, your mission, what you see as the future of your business, that movement, that vision. What are the things that are non negotiable values, right? What is the ideal client that you're working with, and looking at the data, the roster of clients that you have in order to create that profile, to
mhm,
look at the problem that you're solving, to look at the transformation that you're creating, to look at the competitive environment and what you bring to the table that other people aren't. And it's more than just the differentiation, it's the relevance. Again, why does it matter? It's great to be different, but if it doesn't matter,
right.
nobody cares.
Yeah.
So articulating that in a way that your audience feels seen and heard and valued, and the only thing that they have left to say is, yes, take my money. Let's go.
Oh, that we would all hear that more.
I know. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But yes, there are a lot of questions that I ask. There's a lot of, brain dumping that my clients do.
Mhm.
And again, full transparency, I have AI tools and I have Claude skills that are all programmed based on how I work with my clients that now can help me take that input and organize it in a way that then I can share it to my client and connect some of the dots that they just can't see because they're so close to it.
Yeah.
So many times when I reflect back to them and they're like, wow, you make it sound so easy. You're telling me all this stuff. I'm not making it up. You're giving me the information. I can just connect the dots in a
Yeah.
way because I'm an outsider to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we're so close to our own genius that we can't see it. And a lot of times it takes somebody who's a little bit removed to be able to see the beauty of what we bring into the world that we've just been so accustomed to because it's who we are and it's what we
Right.
do that we can't see that it actually is a unique ability and a unique skill that not everybody can do. And I
Right.
think that's just such a it's a beautiful thing that you can do for people when they work with you as a brand strategist is to be able to zoom out and help them see what they actually bring to the table and the uniqueness of how they were created and how they work in the world.
Yeah. And even to add to that, I would say is also to help them simplify.
Oh, that's
Like,
yeah.
if we can simplify the message, the audience, the expertise, it creates a more sustainable business over time.
Yep.
It is so hard to have, especially if you're a solopreneur, and most of my clients are, we don't have enough time, energy, money, funding to do all of the things
Mhm.
over time. And then that's where burnout comes in. That's where imposter syndrome comes in. All of these things come up that then eat away at your business. Imagine, I always tell my clients, like, forget the word niche because it's so controversial, but just imagine working in your zone of genius. So it lights you up, what you're so good at, with the people that actually want to do the work and will get great transformation, right?
Mhm.
You are in this energy that's contagious, that's powerful. Why would you want to do anything else? It's not a box. It's it's a sense of flow and genius that you're in. I'd much rather be in that than trying to do all the things and feeling 50%
Oh, for
in all
sure.
of those things.
For sure. 100%. I totally agree. So, as we're wrapping this up, it's been such a great conversation. What would you tell somebody who's listening that's kind of listening and shaking their head and saying to themselves, I think that I might be getting it wrong, that my niche is too big, but I
Mhm.
don't even know where to start.
Yes.
What does
Yes.
that person need to hear from you today?
Okay. So I would say if you don't know where to start, ask your audience, ask your
Mm,
peers, ask your family, ask them, what is my brand known for? If I wasn't in the room, what would you be saying about my brand? And start taking a log. And I'm not talking personality, I'm talking like, what am I known for?
mhm.
Right? And you might be surprised of what people say. And then once you have that intel, look at what your social media is saying. Look at what your website's saying. Is it consistent? Is it disjointed? If it is, then we need to start to make some changes. So that would be the first step that I would say you need to do. And once you have that information, then you're on your way to becoming the go-to brand for that. You just have to build all of the marketing for that behind it.
That's your Bernie doodle, right?
Yes, I'm sorry if you heard some barking behind me. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's totally fine. I'm a dog lover, and I've been getting ads for Bernie doodles on my Facebook, and I'm like, "They're so cute."
They are. They're so cute, but he's a little loud right now, so I apologize.
That's quite all right. So, I would say 100% agree with what you're saying, and I think that if you're listening and you are in that place, doing some of the question asking and then really taking time, you said it before, and I don't think we do this enough as entrepreneurs, taking time to look at the hard data,
Yeah.
taking time to read the answers or listen deeply to what people are saying to us, and then use that to formulate your plan for moving forward, because that really is the way that you're going to get to where you need to be and where you want to be eventually.
Yes. Self-reflection is key. And then here's another tip. Take your testimonials that you might have, put them into AI and
Oh,
ask Chat or Claude, read through my testimonials and tell me, what are my clients saying about my brand? What is my reputation built on? I'm trying to niche. And so I want to take these client testimonials and try to, inform the niche that I should be in, because those testimonials are real words from real people. And those again are the breadcrumbs that will lead you to that. So try that.
oh my gosh, so good. I never think of using AI for things like that. I'm like, I'm so dumb. Why do I not do that? People
Yeah.
use it in such unique ways. Like, I've never heard anybody say, take all of your testimonials and run it through and see what the threads are. That's
Well,
so
in that SNAP, maybe you haven't gotten there that, but in SNAP, that AI, I think they're going to ask you for a
okay.
testimonial or two.
Let's go to the next question. That's so good. Well, I can't wait to finish it. And thank you so much for your time. I know that this is a thing that people struggle with. And so my hope is that by listening to this podcast, they're not only going to feel a little bit better about where they're at, but have the courage to move forward, finding where they should be in their own niche. And so tell everybody how they can find you and how they can work with you.
Yes. So find me on Instagram. My handle is at the brand CEO. Also am active on LinkedIn. And then my website is thebrandceo.com. And so really just hope that this conversation doesn't scare you, but just keeps you curious. I think the first step is being curious and then looking at your data, following the breadcrumbs, and then you can always test it out. That niche that you develop that you think you're leading towards, test it out. See what people think. You might have a niche and then people are like, that's what I thought you did all along. You're not talking about that? So you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So good. So good. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And everybody, we will see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, friend, I don't know about you, but that was fire. In my opinion, that was a fire conversation. And so what you need to do right now is you need to go and grab her free brand audit. You can find that at thebrandceo.com/snap, S-N-A-P, snap. I think I mentioned in the episode, I'm going through it right now, and it's been great so far. I'm very excited to see what it spits out at the end. But free brand audit at her website, thebrandceo.com/snap, S-N-A-P. So go grab your free brand audit and find Malika in all the places. You can find the links down in the show notes. Have a great week.